Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now if you are new to my channel, I'm just going to give you a little introduction to myself for those who are new. So my name is Akhlaq Hamid. I'm a videographer. I've been a photographer for over 10 years now. I've been published in many UK magazines such as Canon Photo Plus magazine, Amateur Photographer magazine, Digital Photographer magazine and many more. I will leave a link in the description box below. I've been doing photo shoots in this very attic, so I've not used any studio, just this attic, and still getting published. But I will be doing a video on secrets of lighting, so make sure you subscribe because you don't want to miss that. So anyway guys, moving on. So you've clicked on this video because obviously you want to know about the basics of color corrections and those waveforms. So have you ever taken a video and you're wondering what are those funny lines going up and down? Well, the good news is I'm here today to explain all of that, mainly aimed at beginners. So before we get any further, I just want you to know that there is a difference between color correction and color grade. So do not confuse the two. They are both completely separate things. So color correction is basically, as it says on the tin, correcting the color, whereas color grading is basically grading your color so you can make it sort of like cinematic and things like that. But you always have to make sure that you color correct first. So I'm here to explain that in Davinci Resolve. So I'm going to jump on the computer. So let's do this together. Let's get started, guys. Okay guys, so let's get the ball rolling then. So first things first, I've got 4 different clips here. I'm just going to go through each one now. The principle, I'm just going to sort of like apply the same one to all of them just so you guys get a better understanding. Now the way this works is basically if I just click on the bottom here on the color, now you see this waveform. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring this forward so you guys can see this properly. I'm just going to add another node here and then attach that on. Okay, so the way this works, guys, now basically here I have a video clip. Now basically this was shot with the Panasonic GH5. That's what I had at the time. I've got a Sony now, but at the time it was a Panasonic GH5. And you've seen in the Sony cinematic looks, it has the S log, but in the GH5 it's called the Cine log or something. I can't remember now because I had that camera a while, but GH5 has its own version. So this is basically what it is, which is why you can see it's giving dull colors. So it's kind of like the Sony S log file, kind of like that. So basically what we have here, so if you study this waveform here, now what that's saying is see, if we go below 128, this represents the dark parts. So anything that goes below is too dark, so underexposed. If we go above the around this area, so below the 1023 or near the 896 is too overexposed. So let me just demonstrate that in front of you now. So what we're going to do is if I just click on this circle here, if I just click on the square, now pay attention to what goes on in this waveform as I brighten this up. So if I bring the lift up, or if I bring it down, sorry. So remember what I said, down is dark. So I'm bringing it down. Can you see what's happening in the image? So I brought it down. So you can see it's gone below the 128. So because it's gone below the 128, we know straight away that this image is very dark, or the video clip, should I say. And also if I move it around, pay attention to the waveform. So if I go to the left of the screen, it moves here. If I go to the right, it moves here. So this is the beauty of these scopes, because it tells you whereabout in the image is this too overexposed or underexposed, so you can see what's going on here. So we know this that's the beauty of scopes. Now we can reset this by clicking on this circle there. So now it's come back to normal. Now pay attention to what goes on in this scopes when I bring when I overexpose it. So I'll bring it to the bright side. So I'm going to do that by using the gain. So can you see I brought it up, so here it's going above the 196, and again if I move it around it's telling us whereabouts in the image this is getting overexposed. So again to the left, to the right, can you see that? So now you guys have an understanding of how we can read the scope telling us whereabouts in the image it's getting bright. So again I just want to reset this. So now in the I also want to explain, basically the lift is basically the dark side of the image. The gamma is basically the mid-range, so basically the mid-tones in other words. And the gain here is representing the brightness as I've just demonstrated, and the offset is basically the entire image as a whole. So that's basically what it is. So you guys have an understanding of what that is now. Now let's pay attention to the other waveform. So we have the parade here. Now this is the exact same thing. All it's doing is showing us the red channel, the green channel, and the cyan channel here. So red, green, and blue. So let me just show you here. If I bring this offset, remember what I said, this is the whole image. So if I bring the whole image down to the cyan side, the blue side, can you see we've turned this blue and this has gone up because I've made the blues go up. If I bring it to the reds, can you see the reds have gone up? And if I bring it there, can you see that the red has gone up here? So I'm gonna reset that. So now you get understanding that this is telling us what side of the image is to up. So if I bring it down to the blue, we know that the blue's gone up. This is the beauty of color scopes. It tells us whereabouts in the image it's going to above. So I'm just going to reset that, so you guys get an understanding. Now let's move to the vector scope. Now again, this is the same thing as the other waveforms. All this is basically is showing that this is in the center. Now watch what happens if I bring the offset up. Can you see what's going on? I moved it to the orange red side. So technically speaking, this should be in the center. So we know that this is too orange, too much orange in the image because we brought it straight up. So technically speaking, if it's in the center, we know it's a well exposed image, but I've done this just to show you guys what goes on. So let me just reset this. Now watch what happens if I bring it to the blue side. Now it's moved to the blue side, so you can see this is telling us the image is gone too over on the blue side. So now you guys get an understanding. It's very simple once you understand the logic. So I'm just going to reset this. Let me go back to the waveform. So again, remember what I said, if it goes too above like that, sorry, I'm just gonna, so if I just go like that, it's gone too high, too overexposed. So if I bring it down, we know it's gone on the dark side, so too underexposed. So again guys, because we're working in the Davinci Resolve here, I'm just going to remind you again, so just so you understand the logic here. So the lift here in Resolve is basically the dark parts of the image. The gamma is basically representing the mid-range, the mid-tones. The gain is for the bright tones. The offset is basically the whole image as a whole. So now you guys understand this logic here, so we have no problem. Now we're going to move on to the next part of this. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to demonstrate here. So I'm just going to click on this guy. So we're on the first part. I've got 4 different video clips from the same shoot. So I'm just going to demonstrate this now in front of you. So what we're going to do here is basically, remember what I said, the lift is to bring the dark side of the images. So what we're trying to say here is, because this was shot in a S-log of the camera, so what we want to do here is basically bring the you can see it's a very dull image because it was shot in the S-log. So what we want to do is we want to bring the the gray side, the dull side of the image. We want to bring the darks out. So you can see, let's study this. So you can see these highlights in the models here. You can see the eyebrows, you can see the jacket of the model. They're kind of like gray. So my task here is I'm going to bring this, I'm going to bring the blacks out. So we have the blacks, and pay attention to here. So I'm just going to take the lift and we're going to just basically bring that down. Can you see in the image we're sort of like gaining our darks, we're gaining our blacks, and obviously we have to watch what we do here. We don't want to go too crazy on this, so we don't want it below this. So about here is right now you can see the highlights in the hair. We bought the eyelashes, we've got the darkness in her jacket, so we're good to go here. So now that's sorted. Now what we want to do is, and by the way guys, just make sure the this part of the node is selected before you do that. And now we want to bring the brights up, so you can see the thing, the whites in this image is basically kind of her face and the color in a t-shirt that she's wearing here. So basically I'm going to take the gain, because we said the gain was for the brightness. I'm going to bring that up. Can you see how we're gaining a bit of white here in the face area? And remember, we don't want to go too crazy. Let me show you what happens when we go too crazy on this. Can you see it's getting overexposed, and we don't want that. So we want to just bring it down, like say about there. And that's actually good. Now remember what I said about the gamma represents the mid tone. So here I can sort of like change the color. So if I want to give this a bit of a cold look, I can sort of go like this. But obviously that's not what I'm trying to aim for here. So I'm just going to reset this. So I mean that looks perfect to me almost. Now I'm just going to bring this down a bit, so you can see we've balanced the vector scope a little bit. Now let's see what's going on in the other waveform. So here, can you see they're all kind of equal? Now I know I'm going a bit too over in the cyan area, so I'm just gonna sort of like just mess around with that a bit. I have to watch what goes on here as well. I'm just gonna sort of like bring it up and down just so we can see what works. As long as I'm not going below here, I'm absolutely fine. So let's have a look in the other vector scope. Now can you see it's in the center? So we're on the right side of the image here. So if I bring this up again, remember what I said, see how this goes too crazy. So we want to center this. So I'm going to just reset this because that's good as it is. Now with the lift, I did say it was for the dark parts of the image. So you see this wheel here, we call this wheel the master wheel. So let's see if I bring now watch what happens if I go like this. So basically it's sort of like bringing our blacks, our darks out more or less. But if I go in the center here, watch what goes on if I go like this. Can you see how the RGB parade here is going up and down? So basically what it's doing is the dark side of the images is kind of like bringing our dark side of the images but in different colors here. So we don't want that. This is just to show you what happens. So I'm going to center this here. So yeah, so that's what it's actually doing here, is it's showing our dark side of the images. If I go in the gain, it's showing our bright side of the images but in different color formats, as you can see. So we know here that the red is going above the green and the cyan, the blue. So we want to center this just to make it bang on there. Now let me just show you here guys. Now if we go from before, this is what we started off before, this is what we went to after now. Now I'm actually happy with this images. We've checked all the wave scopes here, the waveforms. Now the only thing that's missing here is we want to add some saturation to this. So what's the next step? See the saturation? I'm just going to basically bring that up. Now look at the image. Can you see what's going on here? We brought some color into it. Now if I go from back to forth, you can see we've added a little saturation here. Now let me try the before and after there. So we started off with a normal dull image, and we brought it back to life with our colors. So that's the beauty of vector scopes and color corrections. You know, it tells us how far away, how underexposed or overexposed it is. That's the beauty of this. Now what I'm going to do here is basically, now that you guys have a better understanding of this, what we're going to do is we're going to open the second sample. I'm just going to try this with these other examples, and then just so you guys can have a understanding. Now we're going to try this with the second clip. Now I have to ask myself here, am I happy with this image? And if the answer is no, why am I not happy? Well, the answer is simple. Again, you can see it's a washed out image. Again, it was shot with the Panasonic GH5 with the Cine log. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our whites back. So again, I'm going to use the exact same method here. So basically the white parts of, sorry, the dark parts of this image is basically her hair, the hair and her jacket. So I'm going to gain this back, and we have to watch our vector scope as well, so we don't go too below this. So I'm going to take the lift, and I'm going to sort of like bring this down. Can you see the darks? We're getting our darks back. So her hair is, her jacket is coming to life. Now I'm not going to go into detail of bringing her skin color out and all of that, because that's on the technical side. Maybe I'll do that in another video, but for this video, this is more or less a color correction. So we brought her blacks out, we brought the darks out in these images. So you can see I can actually go a bit more just to bring these back leaves. So we're good to go. So we want to watch the other waveform. So here you can see how nicely they're balanced out. Here we know that it's in the center of the image. We haven't added any color here. Now the other thing is we want to gain our whites back. Now the only thing that's white in this image is basically we have this part, the back of a jacket, and this kind of like post here. So remember that was the gain to get our whites up. Now I'm going to take this, and I'm just going to go bring this up so you can see we're sort of like gaining our whites. I mean, not too much because we don't want to go too crazy on this. So let's just say I want to bring it about here. So we've cranked that up a bit. Now we've got our white. So now we've got our blacks, we've got our whites. So now we always make sure, just keep a lookout. Now you can see here, I haven't gone over the 896. As long as I don't, we're good to go. Again, this is very well balanced out. Now I'm happy with this clip here. Now the only thing that is missing here is we need some bit of a saturation. So how do I do that? Well, basically I'm just gonna, well, not the saturation because I've already done that, but let's just say I wanted to reset this again. So I'm gonna go back to the waveform. Now watch what happens when I bring the saturation. Can you see if I go down, can you see how boring and dull that looks? If I bring it up here, look what's happening here. So we're kind of like spreading out the waveform here. So the RGB is very well balanced out. Again, we're in the center. So again, so let's bring this down. Can you see sorry, the wrong one here. Right, I'm supposed to do this on this side. So the saturation, now watch what happens. Can you see what's going on here? So if we bring this up, like I'd say, no, we don't want to go too crazy, because if I bring it too high up, look what happens. So the face is going to start getting some colors here, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to bring this balance down a little bit there. So let's do the before and after. Dull image, and there. Now we've gone to bring some little colors out. So you can see here, guys. So again, before, after, can you see how beautiful that is? That's the beauty of our vector scopes here. So we know that when it's below, it's too dark. When it's above, it's too overexposed. That's the beauty of this. So once you understand the logic of how this these Davinci Resolve wheels work, you'll understand the basics. So you'll know, if you understand the lift, you'll know it's for darks, the gamma is for the mid-range, and the gain is for our brightnesses, offset is for our whole image range. So once you understand that logic, the color correction becomes easy for you. Now, I do suggest that you color correct your image first before you color grade. There are differences, as I said. So now we're going to move on to the next sample here. So I'm just going to just reset this here. Now let's go to our second image. So with this one, I'm just going to go with the, let's do this one here. So again, dull image shot with the Panasonic GH5. So again, the same method applies. So I'm not going to make this video any longer because you guys have an understanding of this. So again, it's exactly the same method. So I'm just going to add a node here. So here, what we want to do with the dark, so we're going to just basically bring our blacks, we're going to gain our blacks back here. So just keep an eye out here. So we're good to go. Let me just check the other waveforms. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Now we want to gain our whites back. So it's more or less her t-shirt and her face that is white in this image. So I'm going to crank this up a little bit. Can you see what's going on here? Absolutely brilliant here. Now again, because we started off with the dull image, we're going to bring the saturate. We need a bit of saturation in this image. So I'm just going to crank this up slightly. Okay, we don't want to make it too over the top because can you see her face? It's actually going red if I bring it too high, and we don't want that. So I'd say we'd bring it about here. There you go. Now here, guys, if you feel that her face is, maybe her face is going red, what you want to do here is remember what I said about the mid-tones. So we just want to sort of like move this away from the red side here. So if I just go on here, oops, it's not clicking there. So we just want to move this kind of away from the reds here. And the offset, remember I said the offset represents the whole image. So you can see, can you see the whole image is messing around with the colors are changing here. So that's for another tutorial, but I'm just giving you guys an idea. But here, so yeah, again, we've gone from a boring dull image. So let's try the before and after. So before, after, can you see the saturation has made a difference? Again, I don't want to make this video any longer. So we're just basically going to apply the same method here. So bring our blacks. So we want to bring the jacket, her trousers, her hair. So I'm just going to bring this down slightly. Can you see we're gaining our blacks? There, we've gained our blacks. Always keep an eye out on your vector scopes as well, because we don't want to go too crazy on this. So this is partly in the center. Absolutely brilliant. Now we want to gain our brights in this image. So I'm going to sort of like crank this up a bit. Can you see what's going on in the image? Now, even though we've got our blacks and whites back into this image, what we are missing here is we're missing a bit of color. So if you feel the image is too dark, what's the solution? We just crank our saturation up. So we're gonna bring this guy up. There, can you see what's going on here? Absolutely brilliant. So we've gone from this, the boring dull Panasonic's cinematic image, to this. Can you see what's going on here? There you go. Now I'm not going to bring I have spoken a little bit about color grading. It's in the I'll link that up because I can't remember from the top of my head, but I have done a video of that using the Film Pro codec. So I'll link that in the description, or I'll bring that at the end of the image. So there you go, guys. Now you guys get an understanding of how these vector scopes works. So now that's the beauty of the vector scope. So once you understand the lift, remember the vector scopes works in different software. So it works the same way for Photoshop as well. And Lightroom, but I'm showing you this example in Davinci Resolve because it has more features. So again, just look how beautiful this is from this dull image to that. So now that you guys have an understanding, I'm just going to show you these clips in full screen, and then once you understand, once you see the differences, then you guys, if you have any questions, you can always get back to me. So I hope this gives you guys an understanding. So let's just play this in our full screen then. And so that's the video, guys. I hope you did learn something from that. Now, as I said before, once you understand how these waveform works in Davinci Resolve, so the 4 wheels that I've showed you, the lift, gamma, gain, offset, once you understand what these do and you get an idea of how they work, everything else becomes easy. You'll know exactly what to do in your next video footage. You'll know where the darks are, the highlights are, the midtones. You'll be able to correct that by reading off the scopes, as I mentioned today. Now, I have done a video where I've used a film convert to grade my image. If you want to see that video, just click on this guy here and that'll take you there. So if you did learn something from this video, guys, please give me a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.